Now, I want to go to a shocking story that we covered last week, and sadly, our worst fears were realised when it came to the fate of that Indonesian submarine in waters north of Bali. Let's catch up with Frank Owen again, who's with the Australian Institute of Submarines. Frank, you were talking us through it last week about the possibilities here, but you knew the hopes were not good. From what we know so far, exactly what do you believe has occurred in this submarine? What has sent it to the bottom?
Well, the first thing is that sent to the bottom is an excess of water. It might seem like a simple statement, but it's very clear that there was a leak, that there was enough time to get one of the escape suits out of its package before the worst happened, and then ultimately the flooding then became obviously uncontrollable, and the boat ended up on the bottom.
No suggestion of a major explosion or the like. What's happened is this submarine has started taking water, and so tragically and in an unthinkable fashion, really, these submariners would have known that they were heading down and that it was going to be drastic. Would the submarine have broken up?
Oh, it would have, but there would be no one alive by at that stage. It would have been that part of it would have been very quick. But the flooding would probably have started. I mean, you know, I'm only speculating at this point that if there has to have been flooding, and it would have started. They would have tried to recover as best they could, but at some point that overcomes any ballasting, deballasting, or anything else they could do to get back to the surface.
Yeah, how horrible. Now, you mentioned previously that this particular submarine didn't have great rescue or safety mechanisms with it. When we look at our submarines in Australia, obviously it's an inherently risky operation, but we have much better technical capabilities to prevent this happening in the first place, but to have some chance of rescuing our submariners in the worst case?
We do. The Collins class is able to be to achieve a mate with a rescue vehicle right down to its collapse depth, and that's I can't say what that depth is, but there's a considerable levels of safety in that submarine.
Right, thanks so much for joining us, Frank. It's a horrible story. I appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.
Frank Owen there with the Australian Submarine, the Institute of Submarines. Just a terrible fate to those Indonesian submariners. All of Australia obviously shares the loss there with our neighbours to the north in Indonesia.